Now, it may be the end of an era for Japan. The nation votes on Sunday, and if the polls are right, the curtain will come down on more than half a century of rule by the Liberal Democratic Party. The party of Nakasone, Koizumi, and Aso is set to be toughed out by the Democratic Party of Japan. David Tweed joins us now from Tokyo with the latest. Dave, what's going on there?
That's Linda. Yeah, look, at the forefront of the opposition campaign here in Tokyo is a plan to tackle a decline in the birth rate that could actually see Japan's population shrink by about a quarter by 2050.
Naoko is expecting her first baby at 37 years old. The problem for Japan is there aren't enough people like Naoko planning to have children.
I welcome any assistance for the mothers. Still, it's not necessarily a good reason to start having babies.
Japan is facing a demographic disaster. This year, more died than were born for a second year running. The population as a whole is aging faster than any other major economy, and the working population is set to shrink by 9% in a decade.
The low birth rate will have negative effects on Japan's prospects for future growth and national prominence. Unless Japanese people have more children, the country will face a dire situation as its society ages.
The problem is nothing new, but the DPJ vows to reverse years of inaction on the issue. It pledges to spend more on childcare, offer free education, and even a monthly cash handout for each child.
While the aim may be to boost population growth, some may call the measures vote buying. Still, there may be one more advantage: a short-term boost to population growth.
Economist Jesper Kohl says more babies, more growth.
The best way to boost spending is to have more babies. You do actually increase discretionary expenditure, really, when you do have children, because when was the last time a dad said no to his daughter's request to buy her a present?
But not everyone is convinced.
If the DPJ seizes control of the government, I don't know for how long they will keep helping mothers. So, for now, I think of the money simply as temporary income.
If a new government aims to make its mark on Japanese politics, it'll need to bring change to a new generation.
Linda, a lot of people say that the policies between the DPJ on one hand and the LDP on the other don't show a lot of difference, but the point here is that we're going to see a sea change, that is, a new party coming in and taking control in government. So even small changes that the DPJ might actually have could be big change in Japan, where change is very hard to actually enact. Linda?
Hey, Dave, it does look like the LDP lost its glam factor after Koizumi left. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. Do you remember when Koizumi came back in that last election 4 years ago? He won by a landslide. He brought in his assassins. He threw the old LDP guard out of the party for blocking his plans to privatize the post office. Well, he won that election, then he passed the prime ministership over to 3 prime ministers who were not elected, and each one of them lost more ground until we came up with Aso, who's there at the moment. And every time Aso opens his mouth, he's got some sort of a gaffe where he puts off some different part of the voter, the voter community. So, yeah, it's certainly lost the glam factor, Linda.
And talk about glam factor, he's a funky dresser, so that helps. And you know what? I may have the solution for the problem in Japan as well as Singapore. I mean, they say, we're having trouble producing babies, right? I mean, that's part of the issue in Japan. Well, the answer could be power outage.
Like in New York, during the famous power outage there back. When was that? In the 70s?
There you have it. So, a solution for both governments. David Tweed, thank you so much for that.